Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming in. I know there's a lot of creators on right now, and I did not mean to come on at this time. This was actually planned for 3 o'clock today. I had somebody wanting to come and buy something from me, and they didn't make it, and my schedule's been wackadoodle all day long. So we pushed forward. But today, we're going to be covering Gary Sutton. That's okay, Grace. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Just keep coming in. We're going to have Gary Wayne Sutton's really good friend on panel. Ask her if she wanted to come on panel or for her to call in. She's actually going to be calling me on my phone. I've just got to give her the go-ahead. But I wanted to show a few videos. Gary Wayne Sutton was placed in 1992 on death row in the state of Tennessee. The friend that is coming on, her name is Carolyn. So I want everybody to welcome her. But also, I have a few questions for her, and I told her I would give her a platform to speak. All this is, in my opinion, and speculation, because I am not a juror. I am not a judge. I am not law enforcement. I'm just giving a platform to someone to speak and advocate at the moment. So let me play a few videos. They're really quick, I do believe. Hey, Hope Floats, how are you? Come on in, come on in. And we will hopefully get these on the screen. The medical examiner that actually worked this case. First, I'm going to show you that there is a place to sign a petition for Gary. I'm going to show that real quick. And let's see here. Well, I believe this is it. Let me go to StreamYard. StreamYard's being weird again, of course. But right here, let's see. Wow. This just keeps jumping around. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let's see. Nope. I swear, StreamYard gives me such a fit. Let's see here. There we go. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay, let's pop it on the screen. This is a petition that I saw that can be signed. And this is www.justiceforgarywaynesutton.com/story. So that you can read on your own. I am actually going to pull up something else. Hang on, I've got to make sure this is paused. I know I'm jumping around everywhere. I'm hoping this will pull up. Share screen. Gosh, y'all. This is the medical examiner. This is what went on. Right here. Why is this not popping up for me? There we go. Well, y'all pray for me in this StreamYard. This is on my nerves. It should pop up now. Can you see it at all? Let's add this stage. There we go. Okay, let's go back on this stage. We're going to close all this out, and I'm going to play this video for you guys. Did a disgraced Nashville medical examiner put an innocent man on death row? This is News Channel 5. If somebody can give them credit, please. I'm going to play this, as long as my internet will.
This testimony from a disgraced medical examiner put an innocent man on death row. Glad you're with us tonight, everybody. I'm Hunter Hoagland.
And I'm Vicki Yates. Attorneys for Gary Wayne Sutton say he's running out of time and worry he'll be among the first put to death if the state resumes executions.
Can you hear that, Grace?
Investigative reporter Ben Hall has been looking into his case and its close connection to a Nashville
medical Smalley, sorry.
License Ben.
Well, that medical examiner was Charles Harlan. The state revoked his license back in 2005 for incompetence. But Harlan played a key role in the trial of Gary Wayne Sutton.
It happened back in 1992. 24-year-old Tommy Griffin's body was found along the banks of the Little River in Blount County, and his sister was found days later, burned beyond recognition in her car. It did not take long for police to arrest Gary Wayne Sutton and his older uncle.
As soon as we were backing out, they surrounded us.
Longtime friend Carolyn Miller was with Sutton when he was arrested and is certain he is innocent.
How can you be so sure he did not do it?
Because I was with him that weekend.
The judicial system makes mistakes sometimes, and this is one of those mistakes.
Sutton's attorney is fighting to get Sutton off death row. He points back to his 1996 murder trial at the old Blount County Courthouse. The prosecution's case depended on a timeline. Tommy Griffin's body was discovered on a Monday morning, but prosecutors said he was murdered 3 days earlier, on Friday night, right after Sutton and his older uncle bailed Griffin out of jail.
The timeline required Mr. Griffin to have been dead 64 hours.
But when Griffin's body was discovered, first responders said the gunshot wound seemed fresh and the body was in full rigor mortis.
When first responders responded, the body was in rigor, and that's something that usually dissipates within a day.
A former county medical examiner testified at trial Griffin was likely dead only 24 to 36 hours, which destroyed the prosecution's theory of what happened.
There was a time that when we came out of the courtroom, we thought he was coming home until Charles Harlan got up on the stand.
Miller was at Sutton's trial and said the whole trial turned when prosecutors called a surprise witness, Dr. Charles Harlan.
They had to have a timeline when Tommy got killed, and Harlan gave them that timeline.
Harlan assured jurors Griffin was shot on Friday night. He never examined the body and said he made his determination based on slides of organs.
They prepared Dr. Harlan to give this testimony that perfectly gave the state what they needed to make their case.
Knox County's current medical examiner has since testified determining death based on slides of organs is not the recognized science.
She found that the specific way Dr. Harlan did this, that it's scientifically impossible.
But jurors bought it, based in part on the fact prosecutors touted Harlan as the state's chief medical examiner.
At that time, we didn't know that he was under investigation for, forging and fabricating other things to other people.
Prosecutors have said they did not know Harlan was under investigation by the TBI for incompetence when he testified at the 1996 trial. In fact, when he testified, he'd been banned from the TBI crime lab.
In the laundry room, we found a jar, and I knew that was body parts.
News Channel 5 did several stories on bizarre situations involving Harlan. In 2005, Sherry Rigsby rented a Creve Hall home once owned by the former medical examiner. Part of the deal was to clean out some old boxes.
We were going through boxes and I picked up papers and found autopsy reports.
It turned out those boxes contained old autopsy reports, even slides with tissue from an autopsy.
But in the last few years, seems like every time he turns around, he's making some kind of really bad mistake.
The State Board of Medical Examiners finally ended Harlan's 33-year career in 2005. They cited numerous bungled autopsies and revoked his medical license.
Finding of incompetence could affect all the criminal convictions in which he has testified in the last several years.
Harlan's defense attorney argued that revoking his license could impact many of the murder convictions in which Harlan had testified. And in fact, some people have gotten new trials, but Gary Sutton has not.
It's very difficult.
My internet is spinning. I'm sorry. Hang on, guys. Surely. Well, that was the end of it anyways. But, yeah. So, as you all see, hello, Angel Wings. The medical examiner, he's passed away now, I do believe. But he actually was making an assumption for his cause of death by slides. But we're going to have Carolyn call in right now, guys. That's the one you saw speaking on the TV, actually. And I have a few questions for her. And I'm going to turn it on in my car so you guys can hear it loud. And you tell me if it's too loud, okay? She's about to call. Sorry, guys, we're waiting. She was actually watching the live stream. So it may take her a few minutes. She's actually been traveling down to actually go see Gary. So, hang on. Let's see. Sorry, guys. She must be having trouble. Oh, there she is. Hello, Carolyn? Carolyn?
Press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hang on just a second, guys. Hello? Carolyn?
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys hear her?
Hi.
I've got you over my car, Carolyn.
Okay, and I'm over my car. So.
Okay, so we're both in the car. That's my quiet place. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Can you guys hear her okay? I want to make sure everybody can hear. They're saying talk louder. I'm trying to turn you louder. Okay, are we good now, guys? For some reason, my
internet. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I want to make sure they can.
Okay.
Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear Carolyn? Yes, everybody's saying yes. Okay. So I'm going to give Carolyn a platform to explain for about 3 minutes, guys, before I ask her questions, so that we can get on to the questions also. But I don't want to cut her short, but I want her to have a platform And I do have to state, Carolyn, that this is in my opinion and speculation, just because that's YouTube's policy due to that we're not law enforcement, okay? Okay. And Carolyn came to me and just wanted a platform and to be able to be, have a voice for Gary. So we'll say that. So Carolyn, if you want to go ahead and explain for about 3 minutes or so, that'll be fun, huh?
Okay. All right. So Gary is sitting on Tennessee's death row for murdering his best friend. We're trying to get people's attention with this because he's innocent. There's nothing anywhere that shows that he did this. The trial, both trials, the whole trial was all circumstantial evidence. So right now at this point, Gary has exhausted all of his appeals, and so he is up for an execution. We had one back in 2022, but where they had botched it, and the governor had state executions, so that execution date went away. It was October the 6th of 2022. Now they did resume executions again. So far, thank God, Gary hasn't got one yet, but he could get one at any time. We are actually trying to get the Governor Lee of Tennessee to hear our story, to come and sit down with us, because we know that once he hears this, he's going to know that this man was put on death row for a crime he didn't commit. So I've been advocating for Gary. I've been his friend. I met him in 91, but the last 5 years, the last 4, I really came back into the picture going strong, because when he came up for execution, I knew I had to do something. Something had to be done, because he cannot be executed. He did not commit this crime. So that's where I'm at. And we have done, we've had news coverage on it. We've done press conferences at the Capitol. I've went as far as, me and my daughter and my niece and Gary's daughter has went as far as going to the Capitol. We've been there 3 times now, and we've talked to representatives. We've talked to senators. We have some senators behind us and reps behind us. They do believe that this does need another look, but we cannot get the governor to listen to us. So, and so my next thing is, I'm just trying to get this out. As many people that will help me get Gary's story out, because this is a story that, if there's any corruption ever went on, this case is corrupt. It's lies, forging, fabricating. It's from the very start, they lied. They had to scurvy around and do all the lies, to get the conviction. So in my mind, the right person listens, he's gonna get off of death row, and he's gonna come home. So that's where I'm at with this. And I know that Gary's innocent, because the timeline, and I was with him that weekend. So he didn't do this. And I know this. I would lay my life down that he didn't do this.
So Carolyn just said that she was with him that weekend, guys. Grace Paris says, check into Greg Isaacs.
Greg Isaacs will not touch it, since it's already gone, and he has nothing left, that no appeals left or anything.
Wow.
And money. We have to have money, and we don't have that money. That's really one of the reasons too why he's sitting on death row, because if you don't have money, you don't have the proper people to represent you, and your public defenders, they do only as much as they can do. Yeah. And that they're allowed to do.
Well, Smiley, you stated the Innocence Project, and she has tried that, but there was something that it wouldn't work, unfortunately, right?
There's no DNA. There's
no DNA, so they will not help. So
I think too, let me say this too. So Gary's lawyer they were willing to, you know, see what we had to have and everything until they talked to his lawyer. So their thing is, as long as he has a lawyer, there's really not anything they can do. Plus, he doesn't have any DNA. So, and just like they told me at the Innocence Project, unfortunately, if people, I mean, we would have to fire his lawyers, and we just can't take that chance with his public defenders, because if it does come that he gets a date, we got to have somebody to do the clemency.
Wow.
So you're stuck.
Yeah.
You're stuck when you're with the public defender, and you don't have control over what you can do.
Wow.
Because those public defenders, they just don't want to have anybody else come in, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
It didn't make sense to me for a long time.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Because, yeah. When I came back into the picture too, we hired a private investigator, and I took that private investigator to the lawyer's office, and she wouldn't have anything to help with. She wanted everything that she got, but she even stopped her from going to the prison to see Gary, because she said she's not a part of his legal team. But we hired her. So, but we didn't, but she wasn't able to help us much. I mean, she helped us greatly, don't get me wrong, with the things that she did get. But as far as helping him, her hands were tied.
Wow. Okay, we're going to move on to the questions. Okay, Carolyn. I'm gonna pull up. I'm just gonna read you what Grace Pierce says. Ask for a new attorney. Let's see. Smalley says, let me pull this up. Well, crud. Hang on just a second. Tell her to explain clemency is the last. You mean the last resort, or what do you mean?
Clemency is the last resort, and and the lawyers do the clemency, which it goes to the governor's people, which the governor is supposed to look at and to see if he will put the stay of execution. In my opinion, most of those clemencies don't ever get past the governor's people, because I know that's just my opinion, and that's how I feel about that. So, the good thing that we have now is that we are just now being able to get rid of the lawyer that Gary had all these years, and post-conviction has came in, but it has taken him over 20-something years, because every time he filed in to get a new lawyer, they denied it.
Wow. Wow. Well, Smalley is saying, what can we do to help?
I just need people to get his story out. I need his story out there. I need it every platform that I can get it on. I just need people to talk about this. I need people to put Gary's name out there, so people, when they hear Gary Wayne Sutton, they're going to know who they're talking about.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to ask some questions, but I think you've answered a few. Okay. Guys, okay. I'm going to go ahead and ask these questions to her. What kind of person is Gary?
Gary is as country as you can find. He was raised in Sevier County on a farm. He is the most kindest, compassionate person that I've ever met. He loves with his heart. Even him being where he's at today, he still loves. He loved his family. He loved his friends. Gary was the type of person too. He helped you. He went out of his way to help you if you needed help. It didn't matter. If you called on him, he was there. And even to this day, like I said, I have lost contact with him for many, many years. The first time I ever talked to him again, he is the same person he was back then. He loves with his whole heart.
Okay. Wow. Okay. What kind of, let's see. What kind of relationship did he have with his best friend?
Him and Tommy were best friends. when I first met Gary, I worked at a convenience store, and he was coming by in the evenings, and he was getting food. And before I talked to him and started, I just figured, he had a significant other at home and anything. But after I got to talking to him and stuff, and later on, Tommy lived by himself, and Tommy was, he was an alcoholic and stuff, and he had a prosthetic leg. So he didn't take care of himself.
Yeah.
So Gary always made sure that Tommy ate. Like, he would get off work in the evenings, he would come by, he would go by Tommy's house, he would make sure he ate. He even had a room at his place for Tommy, his own room. It was Tommy's room. So he was his best friend, but he was also like his brother. He treated him like, in some parts, he might have treated him better than he did his own brother. But he was always there for Tommy, always protecting Tommy.
Okay. Let's see. You've already answered some of these. Okay. What do you think hurt Gary during his trial?
What hurt him the most is that he didn't get a trial by himself. He had to sit beside his uncle, and they tried them together. He didn't have his own trial. He didn't have the jury of his own peers. That's what hurt Gary.
Okay. What are some things you feel should have been done differently besides that during the trial?
That they should have investigated other people that were suspects. But when they zoned in on Gary and his uncle, it didn't matter who else they thought. There was a guy that had actually went to the police department and told them that he had done that, and that he had shot Connie, is what he had told them. And they told him in the trial, when they brought him, they said that he was drunk and he didn't know what he was talking about. But yet he threatened the lady that if she didn't shut her mouth, that they would find her like they found Tommy. And they just didn't do any more investigation. They put him up on the stand and asked him if he said that. He said no. And that was the end of that. But yet the lady that he said it to, she came and testified when he said it to her and how he said it to her. But they didn't even care. They didn't listen to Gary's alibis. Gary had a dozen alibis, not just me. He had a dozen alibis. They did not care what any of us had to say.
Wow. Okay, what is there people like now, that are willing to speak out about the trial now that it's over?
Yes, ma'am. We have the 3 witnesses that they took to the grand jury to say that they have. All 3 of them have said that they took their words and they twisted them. We have a lady that they said back then they kept saying that she saw the truck. To this day, she'll tell you she never could really identify what she saw, because first she said it was a Bronco, then she thought it was a Blazer. Then after the detectives went and talked to her, she said it was a truck, and then she said she never could identify anybody in the truck. That's the first witness. The second witness, he came and said that they omitted part of his statement because if they had used it, it would have messed up their timeline. And he said that he told them that he'd seen a boxy black car, but it was not a white truck that they wanted it to be. And then the third guy, they tried to say that he said that he saw them and identified them, but he said he never saw them. He never saw any of that. So those 3, and I have affidavits from them, and I have them on a video, on a recorded. And then we have jurors that to this day will tell you that they don't think that they had good counsel. We have one juror said that if they had told them that they could have gave just the death penalty or just the life sentence, they would have maybe done that, but they wouldn't explain to them what they could and couldn't do. When they asked if they could give them separate sentencing, they said, no, you have to give them both the death penalty. And And then he also, one of the other jurors also said that he knew the detective. He thought that he was an upstanding guy. He went to the police academy with them. But see, we didn't know all this. None of this stuff was brought out before the trial.
Wow.
So yeah, we have jurors that's even like, well, you know, I have one juror that she said when the detective went to him and said, you do know that Gary, the young boy, has an execution date. And she said, oh no, the young boy didn't do that. But you signed it. You all gave him the death penalty. And one girl that was on there, she said that she was the last to sign because she didn't want to sign it. So, you know, what do you, you all did, but that because the jury didn't understand what they were doing.
Wow. Okay. All right. Wow. Well, thank you for explaining to us, and I really appreciate you. And I'm going to tell all my friend creators to share this, so that way, there's an explanation to everything and to why you think he is innocent. I have to say, in my opinion, because I do not know you personally, and we're on YouTube, but, I'm glad that we can give you a mouthpiece to speak through.
I appreciate it.
To spread the word. And you be careful down there, and you have a good weekend, okay, honey?
All right, thank you. I appreciate you all. There's a lot more. Just let me know what you can do. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, and we'll keep on covering the story for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, honey. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, so you heard, thank you, Smiley. You heard the story of what happened. Thank you, yes, Carolyn, for calling in. I appreciate you guys. My mouth is very dry. For coming in, and share away, please, and hit that like button, and subscribe if you can, guys. We need to get this on the algorithm as much as possible. I have to state in my opinion, and allegedly, of course. So everything, everything's alleged or in my opinion, but I did want to give her a chance to speak out. And any of the comments I missed, thank you, Not, for saying I'm doing a good job. This was the first time me doing an interview, that's for sure. I think, helping, we need to just share, and pray. You guys can voice your opinions also. Not crazy needs a wrench. Yes. Hope floats, lots of corruption. Could be hope. Could really be. Not. I will look into getting you a wrench. Thank you, Smiley, for saying I've done a good job. Y'all have a good night. I've got to get back to the pool with my kiddos because they're wondering where mom's at. And thank you for joining me. And I love you guys, and God bless.